listen from the brain, seeing the beauty through the.
There she is. Oh wait, I think I'm recording. Anyways, what is up YouTube? Welcome back to the video, and today we are going to be talking about NASCAR Heat 5, making my kind of predictions, previews. Not really, I guess it wouldn't be preview, what I want to see in the game, but we also want to start out with seeing what you guys want in the game. So if you guys do want to be involved, make sure to follow my Twitter. You'll see it here in just a moment. But before we get into the video, I want to make sure I give a quick shout out to our partners over at NASCAR Talk America. NASCAR Talk America is by far my favorite NASCAR Discord server, really Discord server in general. There's so much stuff to do. You have the general chat where you can talk just about anything, and then you have, you can talk about specific Cup series, the Xfinity series, Gander Outdoor Truck series. There's a question of the day, all of that fun stuff. Here's all your news and standings. Standings doesn't really do much anymore, but you can see news from each and every Twitter page for NASCAR. And then we have here when there are actual races, you have your racing commentary, and then you can actually talk in the booth. And then moving on down, you have your other motorsports and sports. And then here's where you can advertise and all that stuff. But I also have my own little tab here where I put all of my uploads and ask you guys some questions and just communicate with you guys. So if you guys want to talk to me some more, I try and talk on Twitter, but I also will be talking on here. So be sure to go ahead and check out NASCAR Talk America. The link will be in the description below. Alright, so we are going to start this video out with a quick field trip over to Twitter so I can see your guys' thoughts and opinions. And you guys actually had a couple that I had written down in my notes before actually tweeting that tweet. So basically I made a tweet asking you guys what you guys want, and here is what you guys responded with. If you guys have not already, be sure to go follow my Twitter. We're at about 60 followers, so maybe we can get to 100. Who knows? Get to 100 before my YouTube channel does. By the way, I haven't really talked about that. We're at 98. By the time this video gets out, I have a couple videos planned in front of it. So by the time this video comes out, I could be at 100 subscribers. If so, I will have already made a video about it. But shout out to you guys. You guys are the greatest. And without further ado, let's get into this one. So this is the one I made today, but we're going to go ahead and scoot on down here to the one I did January 3rd. Excuse me. So if this would quickly load, it'd be very much appreciated. Geez, how long does it take? So like I said, I asked what are some things that you guys would like to see in NASCAR Heat 5, asking for a video, because I knew if I didn't say, people would probably not really answer. So I got to give that incentive here. And we got Chinnery 20 is the first answer. You might know him from a couple videos. Why did I click on that? Because I know how long that's going to take to load and all of that. So we're going to unclick that. Anyways, so he says multiple save files, which I completely agree. It's been. Can we look this up? When were multiple save files introduced to gaming? Probably won't come up with an answer, but we'll see, just in case. God, why is my internet so slow today? Alright, doesn't look like there's too much of an answer, I guess, just saved game. So Chinnery 20 with multiple save files. We have actually, me and Chinnery both have been asking for this since NASCAR Heat 2. It has been a long time. We still have yet to see any multiple save files besides over in championship mode, which nobody really plays. I mean, I'm sure a decent amount, I guess, but I don't personally play. You can have kind of multiple different championships, but they all have to start. You can have two 36 race championships in the Monster Energy Cup Series. You have to have a shorter season. So that is something that I guess sort of resembles that, but having two career save files so I don't have to make a second account for my YouTube career mode and my personal account for my personal career mode, it'd be pretty nice. I mean, I guess it doesn't really make that big a difference since either way we get it, but I mean, it's something that's been around since really before I was born. It's not like it's anything new and mind-blowing. I don't think it shouldn't be too hard to have, but let's go ahead and move on to the next one. It's funny how I just went on like a 2-minute rant about something so small as multiple save files, but that's kind of going to be the theme of this video. Moving on, Nick Bauman, sorry if I botched that. The ability to save in the middle of the race, I'm going to assume he means fuel. I don't know what else he really would mean, and I agree with him on this one. Really, the fuel saving or the fuel is really random, I would say. I feel like some tracks, there are tracks. Here is the tweet I posted today, recording my NASCAR Heat 5 video today. So if you haven't already, comment below what you want for NASCAR Heat 5. Now, we actually got two. Somebody quote tweeted it, so we'll get to that in a second. But Mark Silas took another talking point I wanted to make in this video and said it. But, I mean, I'm not discouraging that in any way, shape, or form. Qualifying and practice sessions online would be nice. Like, envision this, I believe it was NASCAR 09. I didn't play that game personally. I mean, I did a couple times, obviously, but I never actually owned the game. I don't think I really ever played multiplayer. I would have been like 7 at the time, so there you go, you got my age. So I don't really remember much of that, but anyways, that, from what I understand, basically how it was, you would go into a practice session, and once you got everybody that you wanted in there, you were able to start qualifying, which was then obviously what qualifying does, and set the order for the upcoming race. And then, you know, once you get your 1 or 2 laps down on qualifying, you would go ahead and get into the race, which would be very nice. And I agree with Mark on this. I don't know how realistic it is. I don't know how NASCAR Heat, how realistic it is for a 704 to add it to NASCAR Heat. I think way down the line in NASCAR, I mean, remember, we got like 10 years left of 704. Way down the line in NASCAR Heat 10, maybe, I don't know. This is realistic, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to down what Mark is saying, because I was planning on saying this myself as a wish list. I wish this was in there. But if we can't even, I mean, technically we can pause the timer and stuff like that, but still, if we can't even just start the game when the owner decides to start the game and we have to have a timer, I'm just not sure how realistic it is that we can have, you know, people joining in while there's, you know, qualifying going on, or not qualifying, but practice going on. So, I mean, if you think about it, it's the same concept as somebody joining and spectating, so maybe it's not that far off from being possible. But I don't know if NASCAR Heat 5 it'll be in there, but I think it's definitely a great feature that I would, if it were to be added, it would make me a very happy person as a league racer. So definitely a good one right there. And if that were to happen, honestly, that would make me very happy. Now I gotta get notifications for this one because he quote tweeted it. There we go. And it was actually the same thing, adding ARCA racing to NASCAR Heat 5. I talked about that earlier. I think it's very realistic, and probably out of everything on here is the most likely to happen. So that's always good. And yeah, that's really all we got for the Twitter suggestions. I think probably multiple save files is what I'm most looking to have. Would be very nice. Now, what I want to start touching on, I'm actually going to take this down a little bit. There we go. Sorry about that. So what I want to touch on first, and I have quite a few things here and probably quite a bit of talking points, is an improved career mode. Now, they improve it every year. I'm not saying that it's not necessarily a bad career mode, but it's kind of dull at points. And I don't think in some of the stuff I'm talking about will happen, but I think in some capacity, and probably a somewhat decent capacity, we will see an improved career mode. I don't think it will be to the longevity and the extent that I will kind of point out, or some of the ideas I'll say will, you know, come to fruition, but I think we'll definitely see an improved career mode. I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say it's probably about a 9 on the scale that we will get an improved career mode. So but here are some improvements that I think could be made to improve the longevity. Now, first off, not necessarily a longevity thing, I guess, I just kind of turned around, but something that would be kind of interesting is when you're a team owner or even a driver, maybe, you don't get the whole Alex Bowman situation is what kind of got me on this. You don't have one sponsor that sponsors you for 36 races. What if you had to kind of I mean, obviously by default you would have to have a sponsor for every single race, but you know, based on performance tips, let's say you get 5 races with Mountain Dew, 10 races with Gatorade, 2 races with Ally, you know, all these different sponsors. So you're not just running the same scheme every single week, and so that way you can, you know, it makes it more interesting, you know, and it gives you an incentive. Maybe at the base, if you're like really bad for whatever reason, you have to, you know, you have one sponsor and it's not paying you a lot of money and stuff like that, but it gets you through the entire year. But once you get more competitive, obviously more sponsors are going to want you, and for a certain amount of races and all of that, and you can base it on money and all of that. I think that would be very interesting, and it would give you an incentive to just even more incentive to perform well, and just makes it a little more realistic, because really Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, you know, those guys are really, Joey Logano, and even him, he has a couple other different sponsors. Those are really the only drivers in the sport that have one sponsor for the entire season. Chase Elliott has Napa for most of the season, but he has a lot of different sponsors as well. So those are really the only drivers. For the most part, the rest of the drivers have, you know, a collective 4 to 5 sponsors that sponsor them throughout the season. So in some like JTG has an insane amount of sponsors. For like a medium-sized team, they have a lot of different sponsors. I mean, they got Bush's, Kroger's, I believe Axe was on there once I saw. You know, they have a lot of different sponsors there. So it'd just be interesting. It'd just add to kind of the realisticness of being an owner, and it could also apply to a driver as well. But moving on through the career mode stuff, something I think that could add the longevity to the career mode is maybe, I think something that could really add to the longevity of the career mode would be a skill tree. Now, I'm not really sure the details, and I'm not sure really if this is ever going to happen, but, you know, something, I'm just kind of trying to, as I turn on my light, something that will, you know, help, you know, make you actually have to grind. Why do you keep on playing 2K all the time? Like, why would you play 2K if you just automatically got a 99? That actually how it used to be, but I mean, would you play 2K so much if you didn't actually have to grind? Now, that 2K is not really a great example, but Madden as well. Like, if you already have the skills to, and that's something that, you know, owner mode kind of does, but only halfly does. I think if you could have a skill tree that, you know, you improve your ability to, you know, recover from wrecks, you improve your, you know, all-around speed, because there are some drivers that just, you know, don't get speed out of the car as much as others. So if you can do that, you know, and then, so like, let's say you have everything maxed out and you go to a 4-star team, maybe you would perform better than somebody who has these skills. Like, basically you're rating yourself. So let's say you are like a 95 overall, but you're on a team that's a 4-star team. You might perform better than somebody that's on a 5-star team and is like an 85 overall. So adding ratings and a skill tree system, I think, would be very interesting, so long as you don't put microtransactions on it. I'm not saying you should put microtransactions on it. Say, oh, if you get VC over here, you know, you can upgrade your driver. It should be attributes earned by performance, and then that will allow you to, you know, improve this skill, and that should be all it is. Should not have to buy VC, which it wouldn't be virtual currency. You should not have to buy that in order to upgrade your player. It should strictly be offline through performance. But I think this would be something that would massively improve the longevity of career, and having ratings for other drivers would also be very interesting. Like, if you have Daniel Suarez, you know, he was at Stewart Haas, but I would say there's people in 4-star cars that were doing better than him. You know, you give him like a 79 or something like that. I mean, I don't know what the, you know, whole spectrum would be or anything like that, but it does be interesting, and it can kind of branch out into possibly, if they move around, you know, an owner mode. If you have somebody like Brad Keselowski gets kicked out of his ride, I mean, that's not ever going to happen, but, you know, and he goes down to a 4-star team, you know, does he improve? Does he not? I don't know. And maybe there's regression, progression. I'm getting way too deep in this. I need to calm down. This is never going to happen. But, you know, just kind of that kind of stuff that just gets in my head, and like, that would be so awesome and stuff like that. But on to the next thingy. So the next one I would like to talk about is online career mode, and I'm not really going to talk about how it would work because I mean it's kind of self-explanatory to career mode online. But the reason I really want to talk about this is I think it's very likely because if you remember back, I believe, I'm not sure when it was, but there was a survey that went out and they asked what you wanted to see in NASCAR Heat 4. One of the options on there was online multiplayer, online career mode, which is something I think a lot of people would like, but I think there was full paint boost, so everybody asked for that because they probably want that more. But I think that I never thought that they would actually consider doing that or really have the resources to do that, but they put it out there. So I just wanted to say that looks like it could very possibly come up in, if not NASCAR Heat 5, maybe NASCAR Heat 6 or 7. Definitely. Also, can we change the name to 2020, NASCAR 2020, NASCAR 2021? Like, this NASCAR Heat 5 stuff, okay, but it would give it more of an identity, in my opinion, because NASCAR Heat 5, that could have came out back in 2002, for all we know. So, change it back to NASCAR 2021. Do that. It would be very much appreciated. But, anyways, also, maybe for, like, league racing, you could have that back in NASCAR 14. See, I know exactly when it was made because it was NASCAR 14. Have that, I think they had, like, an online league thing, and you would be able to, you know, just run the league on there. You didn't have to go through all this effort, and it'd make it a lot easier for league owners and stuff like that. So, and I think that kind of goes hand in hand with the online career mode, so that also could possibly be in one of the upcoming games. Now, I don't think this is going to happen, but I just had to put it in because I'm a pretty big MyGM/MyLeague fan on 2K. So, an owner mode, that would be, excuse me, very nice. And I think as, you know, NASCAR Heat and 704 grow a relationship with NASCAR, I think over time this could become more and more possible. I don't think it'll happen in NASCAR Heat 5, but an owner mode would be very cool where you own your own team, strictly owner, don't have to worry about, you know, racing every race, and you just bring in these drivers and you can start out as a dirt team, start out as a truck team, and work your way up through the ranks. I think that would just for me, it'd be a lot of fun. And I think a lot of people would get behind it, and you gotta think, the more modes you have, the more ways people have to turn. Right now, you're either playing multiplayer or career mode. Chances are you're not playing championship mode unless you get really bored, then you do 2 races, and then you get really bored again, and you probably never go back to it. At least that's how it works for me. So if I were to have an owner mode and a crew chief mode, which I'll talk about kind of the logistics in a second, that would give me something that when I'm not feeling career mode, I can turn to crew chief mode, and I can go in there. And or if I'm not feeling either of those, I can go to owner mode, and I can go there. So the more modes you have, the more play time you'll get. I think that's just how life works. The more options something gives, the more likely somebody is to use it. So that is just kind of how it works. But to talk about the crew chief mode, I think this is something that could kind of surprise us, and it doesn't have to necessarily be in the console game. You could make a mobile game like NASCAR 15 and do that. But I really enjoyed NASCAR Manager. I somewhat still play it today. If I get kind of bored, I'll play it. But the only thing I hated was how there was a limit. So if you could take that off, that'd be very nice. But there's a limit on how much you could do, and there's a lot of money based in it. And yes, I probably spent nearly $100 on that game just because I was bored. But yeah, so having a crew chief mode run similar to that of NASCAR Manager would be a lot of fun because I play Motorsport Manager, I play all of that, and it's more fun than it sounds like, I would say. And yeah, I think that's probably more likely than owner mode, and I don't think anybody's really ever said it, so I just kind of wanted to say it. So there it is. Now the last two I want to talk about aren't like they don't go hand in hand. It's just kind of little nitpicky things I want to point out. And the first one is improved cautions. I don't know if they think they improved on it this year, but they didn't. It's okay, I guess, in career mode, but in multiplayer they improved it, and it has not been improved in my opinion. I think you could definitely go better with that. And improvement on AIs. I can remember a time when I thought AIs were going to be kind of the future of league racing. I don't know why. I just always thought, oh, we'll put in some AI cars. But yeah, that's not the case. But if you can make it to where maybe we can have, 3 to 4 AIs, just throw them in there for the heck of it, that would be kind of interesting. And lastly, Legends. This is something that, again, I don't think is necessarily possible, but it'd be cool to see. We had Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon in the game. Granted, Jeff Gordon had an old scheme on a current car, and Tony Stewart was in the Dirt Series. But that just kind of opened my mind to having Legends it doesn't have to be a whole My Team system like 2K, but you see them bring back Legends for My Team, and I think that'd be just cool. You could have a whole Legends race, and heck, who knows? You could have. If you go back and put in the old cars, I think that would maybe be a waste of time and effort, but it'd still be kind of cool to go back and race, the Gen 3 cars, something like that. That would be pretty awesome. But if you can just get legend schemes with Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt, get those retro schemes, bring them into the game, and allow us to use them, and in multiplayer lobbies and stuff like that. I think that would be really cool. I mean, it's kind of aesthetic, but and you probably would have to pay for them, but I probably would. I mean, you still pay for Fortnite skins, right? I mean, the game's kind of dead, but it'd be kind of the same concept, just not like one skin equals $10. And yeah, so I think that's about it for that. And that's about it for my Heat 5 predictions. I don't know why I say predictions. It's not predictions. It's just it's a wish list, I guess you could say. But I'm going to go ahead and end it here. This has been a very long video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and comment down below your guys' thoughts. And yeah, NASCAR Heat 5, I mean, it's half a year away. It's over half a year away. But it's right around the corner. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.